look, I understand that it's like early summer, not really WrestleMania time, but god damn it, we're pretty fucking passionate about this. And our brains have been racked enough, so feel free to listen.
And look,
Actually,
if a WrestleMania, similar to the tree falling in the woods, if a WrestleMania took place in the Performance Center in front of 0 fans, was it really a WrestleMania? What is up, everyone? My name is Jerichoholic8704, and we are here with the Ultimate WrestleMania Card Challenge. A little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a competition we have going between the two of us. And our plan, as I'll explain in a brief moment, was to create the Ultimate WrestleMania card using past WrestleMania matches. And then we will present each card. You guys can decide, for the two of you watching, you guys can decide who had the superior card. And at the end, we're going to try and meld our cards together to create what is the super perfect Ultimate WrestleMania card. But to go over the guidelines for this card, because truthfully, and as you tried to do, you little prick, you can't just fill half your card with Shawn Michaels matches.
when you say you little prick, are you referring to me? Also, I'm EdgeHead3131. Hi, how's it going?
Oh yeah, it's true. Sorry, I didn't even give you a little introduction. That's how little I think of you. All right, so here are the guidelines. We have 8 undercard matches plus a main event. The final match must be a main event match, and we cannot use other main events in undercard matches. We cannot repeat wrestlers, and we're only allowed 2 gimmick matches per card. Lastly, we can only have 1 world title match, meaning you can't have like 1 match for the world title, 1 match for the WWE title, and another for the Universal title. You just have 1 world title match. And finally, as a little bonus rule, you can't repeat a WrestleMania, meaning you can't have 2 matches from the same WrestleMania card. So with that, let us get started with the cards. I'm going to list my card first, and then you can list yours. We'll see. I'm sure we had some overlap. I'm sure we had some changes here and there, but
I'd be surprised if we didn't.
So, and then we also didn't put any specific guidelines towards titles. I tried to get as many as I could in a reasonable amount in 9 matches, but here we go. So, we also decided to pick a venue. So, I decided to pick Levi's Stadium, the host of WrestleMania 31. I think the stadium just looks really, really cool. I kind of like how on the West Coast, it's sunny for most of WrestleMania. It just gives off a different vibe. I didn't really have a problem with it. I understand people's issue with it, and I understand that West Coast can provide a set of challenges. But we are going to LA next year for 37, right? Provided that, we don't have a second wave of COVID-19. So
Hollywood, whichever.
So we'll probably have a similar, setting to WrestleMania 31. But anyway, let us get into my card. So kicking off the card, we have the greatest opener not only in WrestleMania history, but in fucking wrestling history. We have Bret Hart versus Owen Hart. This is a classic match from WrestleMania 10, a nice technical classic. Everyone loves Bret, everyone loves Owen. It really gets the show off to a good start. So next on the card, I have Jericho and Christian from WrestleMania 20. This is a selfish pick. It's a nice singles match. It's very underrated. It's a very good match. And it's a great storyline. It's one of my favorite storylines. And selfishly, I wanted to get Chris Jericho on my Ultimate WrestleMania card. So there you go. Coming up next on my card, we have the British Bulldogs versus the Dream Team, Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine from WrestleMania 2 for the World Tag Team Championships. This match is, dare I say, pretty fucking underrated. A lot of good stuff here. And it's like a diamond in the roughest rough that is WrestleMania 2. That show sucks balls, but the tag team match... Worst Mania... You're going to go that far?
Wow, I said it, and now I'm thinking about some other ones.
I mean, I think it's a pretty shit Mania. I wouldn't, oppose 2 being the worst, but, at least this match is, at least it has this match, which is an awesome match. And when you get right down to it, tag team matches at Mania... obviously the memorable ones are the TLC matches from 16 and 17, but I already used 2 of my gimmick matches, and I didn't want to use it on a TLC match, so obviously this was the fit, and this is, I think, the best straight-up tag team title match at WrestleMania, because I really can't think of any others that we've had recently that aren't multi-man ladder matches, because that's usually what they are. So coming up next, we have my first gimmick match, Edge versus Mick Foley from WrestleMania 22. this is a really underrated match. Not a lot of people talk about it, but it is the bright spot of WrestleMania 22. It has, it's a hardcore match, but it really gets into some pretty crazy spots of, Foley wrapping himself in barbed wire so Edge's arm gets all torn up. The flaming table spot is obviously legendary. So moving on, we have another singles match, this time from WrestleMania 31. We have Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton. Again, this is a really solid undercard match, really good singles match between these two guys. One of Randy Orton's better WrestleMania matches, and it has a really, really awesome finish with the
lifting RKO.
Yeah, the curb stomp into RKO, a really classic moment. And then next we have the Women's Championship match, Charlotte versus Asuka. I think this is probably the one of the best built-up WrestleMania women's matches. I think on par, maybe a little under Mickey and Trish Stratus, but I think this one's just the better match. At this point, Charlotte was, a really credible champion, and Asuka was pushed as the undefeated killer. So obviously, these two colliding was money, so I really appreciate this match. Again, I don't know if I'd say it's the best women's match. I'd probably give that to the Triple Threat from 32, but I think if you factor in story and build, I think this match trumps it just on that alone. Asuka losing, again, I don't know if I would have done that, but it still worked for, Asuka's first defeat, to have it be to Charlotte at WrestleMania. They didn't just throw it away. So again, it's nice to see a streak come to close. It's a nice shocking moment for the audience to kind of fill out this card. Then we have the Intercontinental Championship match. I'd have Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage. There's basically a holy trinity of Intercontinental title matches at WrestleMania, and it's this one, the ladder match, and Brett versus Piper from WrestleMania 8. And unfortunately, I already used Brett, and I'm about to use Shawn in just a second. But this is the natural fit. This is a classic match, everyone's favorite match from WrestleMania 3. There's nothing more to say about this match that hasn't already been said. It's awesome. It's a classic. You need to see it if you haven't. And then we have, for my final special singles match, we have Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker from WrestleMania 25. I used to think the 26 match was better because it was a little bit more dramatic, but when I look back on it, I always tend to watch the 25 one over the 26. I think this is the superior match of the two. However, I will say this is not the best Shawn Michaels Taker match, because that goes to the Hell in the Cell match from Bad Blood. I still stand that that's the best match those two have ever had. But Shawn and Taker is probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, WrestleMania match of all time. It's debatable, but it's certainly in the top 5 at the very least. And finally, for my main event, I had to give it to, maybe it's not the biggest technically. I guess you could argue Hogan and Andre is the biggest main event of all time. But for a more modern fan, it doesn't get any bigger than The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 17. And, if we are factoring in post-match and pre-match, I have to put this in the main event. Stone Cold turning heel might be a botch nowadays, but it was kind of crazy when it actually happened. And more so, the pre-match promo. I think Fred Durst sucks. I think Limp Bizkit's just completely terrible. But fuck, dude, the My Way promo for this match might be the greatest promo in the history of WWE. And they've made some great ones, but this match is fucking awesome. So with that, I am going to officially say that is my card. I think overall, solid from top to bottom. But, I'm glad to hear your rebuttal and see what you have in store.
Opening up, my dream WrestleMania. From WrestleMania 17, despite everything he did, Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle.
All right, solid undercard match.
That match was so fucking solid. Again, excusing everything he did, dude, Chris Benoit was one of the best in-ring technicians we had seen in a long time.
Oh, of course.
Also, you're pairing him with Kurt Angle, who could literally get a great match out of anybody. My first gimmick match, it's a repeat from you. It's the Edge versus Foley match from WrestleMania 22. WrestleMania 22 was the third DVD, if you remember what those are, was the third DVD I had ever bought, at least wrestling related. The first one being 23, and the second one being 21. So I thought, why not complete the trifecta? And this was one of my first, this was probably, I'd say, my first exposure to a hardcore match. Definitely at least seeing thumbtacks in a wrestling match. And just watching it, I was like, holy shit. Like, I know, like, Mick Foley, like, touted as one of, like, the greatest of all time, in the sense that he was a worker. He loved this business. He did unspeakable things to himself, let alone to other people, for the business. And then Edge, I mean, yeah, he's whatever. I mean, like, my name comes from him. It's whatever, no big. But, dude, this match kicked fucking ass.
Oh, I agree.
Next, dude, I really wanted to use my Rock match as the main event against Austin, but I knew I couldn't. So I went with what I thought, and I don't even know if you could call this second best. Dude, this match kicks fucking ass. WrestleMania 18 against Hollywood Hogan was literally, it had no gimmick, but it was like that's the real once in a lifetime match. This was, for my money, probably the great. I would say it was the best match on that card.
I would probably agree. I think my younger self would be like, it's not that great from an in-ring standpoint, but I think overall, like, when you look at the crowd reaction, that match was definitely the best one, without a doubt.
Yeah, dude, and like just the pops in general were insane. Just like how they kind of like came together at the end, I thought was super cool. My women's match is Trish Stratus versus Victoria versus Jazz at WrestleMania 19. You know a bit more about this match than I do, so if you want to give a little insight.
Yeah, no, this was actually a really good triple threat match. You know, kind of before the women had a more vital role in WrestleMania cards. Sometimes they didn't get a match at all, but when they had to, you know, they didn't get a lot of time. This match isn't that long. It's like 8, 9, 10 minutes. But it is really good. And Trish winning the title, you know, it got a really big pop from the crowd, and something you really didn't see from the women at that time. So it was, you know, it was a really good match, and a good, probably the best women's match we had until Trish and Mickey at 22.
Me too, yeah. Which that match kicked ass too, but I couldn't really see putting that over Edge versus Foley.
Yeah,
from that Mania. My next match, absolute classic. I mean, everybody like, if you watch wrestling, like, you know this match. WrestleMania 3, Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage for the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, what's more to say about that match that hasn't already been said?
I pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much my sentiment about it too.
Mm-hmm. From WrestleMania 31, I have John Cena versus Rusev for the United States Championship. Honestly, I thought the build to that match was fantastic. Both entrances were phenomenal.
Was it for the tank?
Fucking tank. Yeah, the tank. It was just such a cool moment. Honestly, I would put WrestleMania 31. I'd probably say that's my favorite Mania.
Just because I love 31. I think that's a solid Mania.
I can't think of a bad match on the card. Up next, we have my second gimmick match. And this is probably one of my other favorite Manias. From WrestleMania 24, we have the retirement match. I'm sorry, I love you. Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels. I mean, shit. That match was just incredible. The raw emotion, not only in the fans, but between Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels, like, going on. Like, we knew what the outcome was going to be. We just weren't ready to accept it. And honestly, I wish that was still Ric Flair's last match, but sadly, money needed to be made elsewhere. My second to last match, what's WrestleMania without The Undertaker? And I would say this was his last great WrestleMania match. WrestleMania 29 versus my boy, Mr. Charles Matheson Punk. Dude, I fucking loved this match. Like I said, I think it was Undertaker's last, like, good actual WrestleMania match, Boneyard match excluded, because that match kicked ass. This match was just all around awesome. The build to it. I'm never huge on wrestling involving, like, real life struggles, let alone, like, somebody passing away, in terms of Paul Bearer in this case. But dude, I just thought it kind of reminded you of, like, how sadistic CM Punk could be. And lastly, I love your match for the main event. Dude, I don't think any main event will ever top the just pop, the emotion of WrestleMania 30 of Randy Orton versus Batista versus Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, no, I was really, for a while, that was the main event match that I was going to go with. And I was going to have Rock and Stone Cold from 19. But honestly, the thing that put the 17 match over 19 for me was the My Way promo, just because that thing is so fucking badass. A big omission, I thought, from my card was Daniel Bryan and Triple H, the singles match from 30. I was like, oh, fuck, I could have put that on the card because I didn't have a Triple H match. But, yeah, no, I think I 100% agree. The pop for Daniel Bryan, match-wise, is it the best match ever? No, but that's not the point. The whole point was to see Daniel Bryan win the title.
The whole point, yeah, just the build, the fan. WWE is finally listening to the fans, which they do all the time, as we know.
Of course.
Dude, that match was just awesome. Like, the first match, just Triple H beating the ever-living fuck out of Daniel Bryan, and then in this match, like, Batista and Orton did what they did back in their Evolution days. They picked one person, they completely separated them from the match, took them out of the equation, or so we thought. That's another one. It was like we knew, but we weren't ready for it.
Right. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I was there in the crowd when that happened. It was pretty fucking awesome. All right, so with that, I honestly thought I would have the better card, but I think I actually might like your card better. I'm not 100% sure.
I loved your card.
I mean, I had some personal favorites on mine, like the Rollins and Orton one and the Jericho Christian one. But I think overall, and we did have some overlap. We both had Steamboat and Savage, and we both had Edge and Foley.
So I think those two need to stay.
With that in mind, we're gonna meld the cards together, and we're gonna do. It'll be the same thing, same rules apply. Can't repeat titles, can't repeat wrestlers, and then. Because we had the overlap, we had the Edge and Mick Foley match and the Steamboat Savage match. I think those matches automatically go into our final card. And then in terms of main event, we'll just have a little bit of a debate and then we'll come together and decide. So I think
because your main event option has The Rock, does that mean Rock versus Hogan is disqualified?
Well, that's the other thing. I have the Randy Orton Seth Rollins match, and your WrestleMania 30 main event has Randy Orton in it. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, because I think that will be the deciding factor on what our remaining matches will be. I think I would like to throw in Brett versus Owen. I think that's a solid one to add to our card.
From 10?
Yeah, I think because did you have a Brett match?
I did not.
Yeah, so I think we got to get a Brett match in there.
I also didn't have a Triple H match, but
yeah,
that was more like I saw other matches that I thought had more precedence, or I guess deserved to be on, in my opinion, more.
Yeah.
Not to discredit Big Nose's WrestleMania performances or terrible 31 entrances.
I'm willing to I think to get a good tag team match on there. You didn't have a tag team title match, so I'm going to throw in Bulldogs and Dream Team.
Go for it.
So that will be on the card as well. And then I'm willing to compromise, even though I think Shawn and Taker is head and shoulders above. I'm willing to debate you on that, but I think I'll throw in Charlotte and Asuka for our women's title match. I can sacrifice my main event of Rock and Stone Cold. We can put your main event in of Daniel Bryan, Batista, and Randy Orton. And then that frees up room for Rock and Hogan. And then you still have the Shawn, and we don't have a Shawn match, and we don't have a Taker match on there yet.
Right.
Do we want to make our main event the triple threat from 30?
I'm more than okay with that.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So what matches do you have left?
So the matches I have left are Jericho and Christian, Seth Rollins and Randy Orton, but that's eliminated because of the main event.
Right.
Shawn and Taker, and that's it, actually. It's just Jericho, Christian, Shawn, and Taker. Now, personally, I think this can go both ways. I think Shawn Michaels and Undertaker is the better match between the Taker match you have and the HBK match you have. But that said, I'm not opposed to putting Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair on here because of the drama of that match. It's just kind of perfect. But you also have Rock and Hogan, which I think is also an acceptable match to put on here for the sake of drama. It was like another match kind of like Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair, where it's not the best match in ring-wise, but the drama's off the charts. I think... I would think Rock and Hogan. If we're not going to have Rock and Austin in the main event, I think we have to put Rock and Hogan on here.
I'm more than okay with that.
All right, so then we have 2 more matches left. Okay, so this is what I propose to you.
Let's hear it.
I think we either do this. We either put Michaels and Flair, and then CM Punk and Taker, or we put Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker together, and we do the 25 match, and then we either do Jericho and Christian or Angle and Benoit.
I thought we already said we were doing Angle and Benoit.
No, we haven't said that yet.
Oh, okay.
So that's fine. We can put Angle and Benoit on here.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I'm very partial to... again, it's all about the drama.
Mm-hmm.
And I
mean, well, let's be fair. The 25 match is filled with drama. The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels match, that got insane crowd reaction.
Oh my god, yeah. However, I'm just trying to think, like,
we can eliminate Jericho and Christian, right?
Yeah.
All right, that's gone.
Okay. I'm trying to think, which of those 2 matches, like the Flair and Shawn or the Shawn and Undertaker, which one had like the longer lasting effects? Oh, also completely like late. My stage, or like my venue, was WrestleMania 26.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I just thought that stage looked fucking baller.
To answer your question about comparing HBK and Flair and HBK Taker, I understand that the HBK Flair match was filled with drama, but I don't know if you will find any person on the planet who would put that match over HBK Taker. And I'm not trying to be an in-ring work mark, because honestly, the in-ring work in that match, while good, exceptional, it still ticks all the boxes for an amazing WrestleMania match. It's not like it's like an AEW spot-filled match. It's a really fucking good professional wrestling match. So that I am a firm believer that HBK and Taker from 25 has to go on here. If we're talking about the Ultimate WrestleMania card, I am willing. Again, I'm perfectly open, because we can fit your 2 separate HBK and Taker matches on here, because there's 2 spots left. But I think the HBK Taker match has so much more longevity than the Flair match, which is legendary in its own right. But I think when you talk about the greatest matches in WrestleMania history, I think everyone would mention the HBK Taker match, and only some would mention Flair and Michaels.
That's fair. You've intellectual. I don't even know if I call it intellectually bested me, but you've provided good points.
All right, so are we going to put Shawn Michaels and Undertaker?
I think so.
All right, so that leaves us with 1 spot left, and I think it naturally goes to Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Because I would not put that match over. Jericho and Christian was my own selfish pick. But that match is superior. That match is awesome.
Dude, that match kicked ass.
And ironically, I wasn't even trying, but we didn't repeat a Mania, which is really a miracle. Because Savage and Steamboat is from 3, Edge and Foley's from 22, Dream and Bulldogs from 2, Charlotte and Asuka's from 34, Brett and Owens from 10, Rock and Hogan's from 18, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit's from 17. We got Michaels and Taker from 25, and our main event, Daniel Bryan versus Batista versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania 30. So there we go. That is the melded, perfect, ultimate WrestleMania card right there. So feel free to decide between the 2 of us who had the better card. Spoiler alert, it's me. That's going to be it. My name, as always, is Jerichoholic8704.
And you know who it is. It's me. It's EdgeHead3131.
Still working on that flow. But my God, we will see you guys later.
Deuces.